The Coaches Show is brought to you by Highway 55, Burgers, Shakes, and Fries. The Professional Fence Company. Our name says it all. No job too big or too small. Nunboys.com. And GPS Photography and Video, GPSPhotoandVideo.com. Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm Glenn Young alongside head coach Tom Parrish and Hal Nunn. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Highway 55, Burgers, Shakes, and Fries, Professional Fence Company, ProFence.com, also on Facebook. No job too big or too small. Their name says it all. Give them a call, 910-875-5912. Nunboys.com, embroidery, marketing, t-shirts, GPS photography and video, GPS photography or GPS photo and video.com. Coach, not too much good we can say about what happened Friday night on effort, but it was 3 plays that jumped out at me. Quarterback and the running back. There's no good way to say it. They made us look silly. In the open field, quarterback comes down, cuts back against the grain. Our guy falls down. And of course, you can see it on the video. Others just gave up chasing. And there was a second play. Running back comes on the sideline, 5 guys around him, as if nobody wants to tackle. One guy drops his head before, which they always teach him fundamentals, about 2 yards out. He just steps around and goes straight down the sideline. And then, of course, the last one, the hard pump fake by the quarterback. And the only thing that guy had to worry about was whether he was going to drop it, because it was like he was receiving a punt.
Well, no, he was picking on a sophomore, and we had a sophomore at corner, and Nakeem is a great athlete. He works very, very hard for us, but he's making sophomore mistakes. He's coached to read his receiver, especially in the coverage that we were in, and Nakeem had his eyes in the backfield.
Now you've had Nakeem on a couple of different in a couple of different positions this year. He's played just a little bit of everything for you. Talk a little bit about him.
And he's not the only one. He's a great athlete. He's an exceptional skill athlete who has a bright future. He's a very good student.
That's the model guy right there.
Well, and he's not the only one. I mean, we have several very good students. On our performance profile that we do every week, we had actually 11 more students break into the 100 to 109% category. And so we had 9 newcomers to the upper tier of our
stepped up.
Of our academic situation. But Nakeem's a great player, and he's going to be a great player. We got to get him dialed in, get him a little bit more focused and more disciplined. And you make sophomore mistakes on Friday nights, and people figure that out.
Oh yeah, very quick.
It's a learning experience.
And at the same time, there was just a lack of effort. And I know fatigue makes cowards of us all, but
you talk about that play. You talk about that third play. You were talking about where we had the set leverage and we had the field leverage. If you go back and look at the film, you'll see I was standing right there where he turned the corner.
It was right on our home side.
And our safety's down on it, and he's on top of it, and he chokes down, and he chokes down and he runs by. And I turn and look at Coach Coleman, and I told him, I said, I don't have an answer for that. We talk to our players all the time about finishing. We got to finish, and finishing's making plays. And when we had him in that situation, and to let him slip out of that, it's indescribable.
It's tough to watch. Obviously the kids know how they play, but people can visibly see it where, coaches coach and players play. And sometimes the running back was just like, we had 5 guys around him, and he just like left, right, left, and he's in the end zone.
Well, over pursuit remains a problem for us defensively, and in our players' defense, they're trying as hard as they can to make plays, and that does lend itself to over pursuit, which in turn lends itself to creating cutback alleys that we work it. We work pursuit every day. We work in getting everybody to the ball. We work leverage in the field, and we do it in practice, and then it transitions, to the game, but it just doesn't transition with the consistency that we need it to.
Yeah. And I noticed here we go again, another offensive player of the week, Jacob Rushing with 2 touchdowns, 176 yards. The guy's over 700 yards rushing. He's a battering ram. He takes it to you. He is a game time type guy.
No doubt about it.
How can you, is that a guy you just let go and just let him do his thing, or you kind of sometimes bring him back and have to reel him in a little bit?
No, we like letting him go.
Of
Him
course.
do his own thing.
But every now and then you got to sort of understand there's a game coming up, so we need to make sure.
Well, the
Our guys
current
are
concern
okay.
is, can he stay healthy? Because if he goes down, there's not much left in the cupboard. Offensively, our offense is all about timing. But KJ Thorpe, bless his heart, he's got to have time to throw. And you can see it visibly on his face, and you got to just let it go. But when he had that loss of down, throwing the ball away, it really got inside his head, it looked like.
Well, and
they were all around.
that was a contestable call because he was in the clutch and was actually in the process of being tackled when he released the ball, which changed the direction of his throw.
Right.
And I argued that, and the white hat wouldn't, he wouldn't entertain it. But then I turn around the next day on the collegiate level and I see somebody do the same thing, and the exact reason that it wasn't intentional grounding was because he was in the clutches of a defender making a tackle.
I saw the same thing, but back to Jacob Rushing. Is there a time in the game where you say, we're not going to continue to just pound it, and you maybe get another guy in there just so he can continue to do that? Because the conference play's coming up, and it ain't going to get any easier for him. He's going to hit some of those guys from Richmond and Pinecrest and Scotland that are probably going to be stronger than New Hanover, Southview, and Jack Bridge. Do you throttle him down a little bit, or do you just let him go every night?
It's we rely on Jacob to tell us where he is, and
if he feels it, you roll with it.
if he feels it, we roll with it. If he needs a spell, and he does a good job telling us, and we'll get him out. But Jacob is he's a warrior, and if you watch us closely enough, we run him outside as much as we run inside.
I've seen him run everywhere.
It's a matter of getting the ball in his hands, but we've worked very hard this week trying to incorporate some other people into the run game since we are having so much difficulty with the timing of our passing game. And the part of the problem with KJ, and we've worked hard on, and he's better at it this week. KJ's trying to take too much time.
Right.
The respectfulness of the timing in the passing game begins with the quarterback.
Yeah, if we can't get it to our playmakers like Brandon Smith, we're in trouble.
Exactly right.
Now we become one-dimensional, and I don't care how good Jacob Rushing is. If we're just relying on the run, then they're just going to key on that and lay the ears back and let it go.
Well, and we're working on some. We're working on being 4-dimensional in the run game this week. So at worst, hopefully 3-dimensional.
Right.
But players got to make plays, and that's what we've talked about. And we worked very hard on it this week.
Yeah. Now, number 11 for us, he made some great catches out there for him. It seemed like KJ was reading in on him, but he just couldn't get it to Brandon on the far outside.
No, it's
They didn't have a lot of time.
He took too much time, and it goes back to what we were saying a minute ago. Our passing game is 90% of our routes are 1001, 1002 release the ball. And KJ, again, a sophomore, is really kind of under fire because you think if he was a quarterback on Thursday night, he'd be torching people.
Yeah.
He'd have that time.
And he was last year, and he's had to grow up
Had
fast.
a lot of big games last
He's had to grow up fast.
But it's a timing deal, being able to work with Brandon in practice and practice that timing, and not just Brandon, but Devin Norwood and Montrell Douglas and everybody else.
Montrell, he played very, very hard against East. I saw very many times where he was giving everything he had to make the catch this week. Also, another player that I see doing, like you mentioned, Devin Norwood. He seems to be inside every play, trying to make a play on something. Offensively this week, are you making any adjustments to the offense this week, or are you pretty set where you're going to go now?
No, we're continuing to evolve. Looking at it, I felt like we weren't really tapping our gap load read series, and I want to incorporate more option, and so we've worked hard on those two things. And our gap load read series, it does involve Devin and Brandon much more, because you look at it and our inability to get the ball, especially in those two guys' hands, it allows people a luxury of loading up the box in anticipation of Jacob getting the ball.
Not a lot to talk about though this week, Coach. Glad that one's put away. And I guess we're going to leave it there in the essence of time. When we come back, we're going to talk Rocky Mount, playing them tomorrow night, not Friday. So we'll be right back right after this.